Hello, everybody. This is Indigenous Monstrosity, and I am Monstrositus X. Ah, it's been a little while since I've talked to you, but I'm back with a little bit of wisdom, uh, power. Everything I've been telling you about these power videos is gonna be about your power or how it relates to you and your power or people around you, business, uh, government, all of it has to do with power because that's what everybody's fighting over. SJWs, they complaining, making all these accusations, doing all of these things. It's because of power. They don't have any and they want it. There are these small section of the civilization or our society that believes they have something coming to them that someone has been keeping from them. Now, if I remember correctly, there was another set of people who was the small sector of the greater whole, and they created an issue, moved into the government, and when they realized they just couldn't run over people, they began a systematic campaign to expand their borders, which the people said, hey, well, if that's what they're going to do for our country, hey, let them have at it, until it went all haywire and people died and all kinds of craziness. Well, this is a lot like what's happening today with SJWs, because in no way, no shape, or form or fashion are SJWs warriors, and none of their propaganda is justice. So we have to. I was I write stories. I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to many several books, and I'm writing my first comic book and designing my characters. And while I was going creating one of my stories, I came across a I came across this uh, jackboot, a large military boot reaching to the knee, used as a symbol of cruel and authoritarian behavior or rule. Okay, colonialism. Well, I don't really understand what authoritarianism is, so let's look it up. Favoring or forcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. Now, isn't that what SJWs are doing? They are doing everything at all costs, even the sacrifice of everyone's personal freedoms, like freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, because if you associate with the wrong person, you're canceled, or whatever the term is. They ban you, block you, destroy you, or everything. The whole idea of patriarchy. Well, isn't the patriarchy the ones who gave them everything that they are using to dictate terms, such as characters that men created? But it's the men who are bad guys. If I'm not mistaken, Wonder Woman was created by a man, and this man had two wives who basically created this story where Wonder Woman was put into sadomasochistic bondage positions in almost every comic book. But Gloria Steinem grabs her bra, burns it, and blames it on men, and takes up Wonder Woman as her Statue of Liberty, and tries to use this man's iconic figure that he created as some symbol of freedom for women burning their bras. And then later on, when their breasts are sagging, they blame that on men, get silicone, and blame the problems that they get from silicone on men too. Now they're putting it in their behinds, their lips, and everything, and they're blaming it all on men, talking about unrealistic body images. Unrealistic body images. So y'all have the government, like in New York, placing laws demanding that people use certain terms or be destroyed financially and every other way. If you're going to be destroyed financially, morally, everything else, because what can you do unless you bow down to their corrupt authoritarian design? So they are in no way social justice warriors. What they are social jackboot wannabes. Social jackboot wannabes. All they think of is how they can destroy you. They don't care who they attack. They attack women, men, children, if they and it's not if they have to. This is part of the program. They know they can't take your power from you, because that's what it is. They want you to submit to their rule. They want you to give up your power freely. I put out a video. Power consists of four things: knowledge that you have it, strength. Strength is basically the strength of your body, strength of your mind, the confidence to use it, the will to use it, the desire that you want to use your power, and then this wisdom, having the smarts in order to use it wisely to benefit you and not make it become a hindrance to yourself, especially because that's what power is for. It's for you. This is shown in nature, and which we are part of. We remove ourselves from and try to make ourselves better, but the truth is we are just basic animals. We've been the same creatures for thousands of years, doing the same petty things, and then saying that we're greater because we can destroy the planet. And that's what we're doing. We're not controlling or dominating. We're destroying it. We've been destroying it since we started using fire. So the idea that social justice warriors are warriors fighting for the betterment of society. How? How are you bettering society when all you're doing is crying about the the smallest sector of society? That, and you want people to step and fetch it, march to a different tune. You want men to kowtow, beg, scrape, bow, all while you crap on them, children, especially man-child, the men-child. They have no right to choose for themselves. They have, even though they claim that homosexuality and all of these gender things are something that's born with, but when it comes to young black men, infant young black men, they are jackbooted into believing the ideals of these privileged, highly privileged individuals who basically take them from their surroundings. I don't care what surroundings it is. It's at least they have a choice. But they brought into so-called better surroundings, claim to be given love, but manipulated on every level to be spokespeople for the what toxic. And another thing that they do is say that they have to teach us something. What is it that they're trying to teach us? We've created all of the things that you've already, well, men have created all of the things that they claim that they desire. They bust their way into video games. Nobody ever complained about them. I loved females in video games. I bought every edition of Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I there's plenty of movies that I grew up loving that had female leads. Where are all of the female leads that these, especially minorities? Because back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of minority women that had movies of their own, both in action and in comedy and romantic comedies. But where are all of those now? There's no fresh faces coming along, filling those spots. Only the older ones that's been around are allowed to still see a little light. But after they gone, you see a big vacant spot for black males in movie leads and black women in movie leads. But they talking diversity. This is not diversity. What their diversity is for women, white women, the privileged white women, to be pushed, and while they pull a few minorities to stand behind them and look over their shoulder if they can see. So you can barely see them. There's been movies that I've witnessed, like I was watching the other day, The Last Starfighter, and at the end, they're all cheering, and they're all bunched in this crowd, and they're all jumping around and cheering for the hero, and he's taking off with his girlfriend. I forget the kid's name, but he's taking off in the ship with his girlfriend, and they're all jumping around, and there's like 3 or 4 black people in the background that I never noticed before, because they're all strategically stashed behind the white people in the scene. There's only the one black man who's off to the side, and there's like 2 or 3 others behind them. That's all. You could barely see them, and with the lights and everything, it really blanks them out, because it gets darker behind the first row, and they're basically, the black people in the background gets faded away, so all you see are bright faces, and the shaded faces are all kind of faded into the crowd. You don't really notice them, and I've watched that movie for years, and I only just noticed it recently while watching the movie on DVD or Blu-ray, because I recently bought it on Blu-ray. But authoritarianism is what they're doing. They're using major big corporations to stomp their foot around and dictate terms, when these corporations are only using these, I would like to say, fools, because they don't realize what they're doing. It's like in Star Wars, which I always say, you can gain wisdom from anywhere. And Obi-Wan dropped some wisdom on me years ago. Obi-Wan Kenobi, he says to Han Solo, who's complaining about following this old fool into the Death Star, is gonna get us all killed, and Obi-Wan politely says, who's more the foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? So this is what I have to say to you people. Please examine what you're doing. Don't be the fool who's following the fool. Please. Get back at me. Holler back. Press the like button. Subscribe. Do your YouTube thing. And get at me, son. I want to hear from all of you. Comment. And let me know how you feel about the subject. I know it's kind of old with this. Later.